what is going on Pig Hill. Lots of farming, maybe, lots of pigs, maybe, and maybe some other stuff that we might be a little bit more interested in. But let's see. Let's see if we can find out some more, starting with the IMDb plot. Carrie has been fascinated by the local legend of the pig people of Pig Hill, revolting creatures who breed and cause havoc in the area. As the 10th woman goes missing, Carrie can't stop thinking that there could be more to these stories. Maybe there is. Maybe there is. No, there is probably. So yeah, this is a new film coming out at Fright Fest, and that is where I believe it's making its premiere. And I was sent a screener for this one to let you guys know that off the top here that this is a screener review. Definitely some twists and turns in here, so I don't want to spoil it for anybody at Fright Fest, or I'm sure it'll be shown elsewhere after this. So I don't want to spoil it. I won't spoil it. I'll leave you guys that to see and find out. So I'll try to watch where we're going here with that. And definitely try to remember to include some information down below at the end. So if you guys want to know more about the film, and how you guys keep an eye on it, whether you're going to Fright Fest or maybe somewhere down the line. So yeah, with that, we'll kind of dive into this. Yeah, you're going to meet a young woman here early on who's definitely fascinated by these stories of the pig people here and what is going on in Pig Hill. Obviously, lots, this is kind of a smaller town kind of thing. And, lots of people kind of know about it. And even the police, they know that women are going missing, and they're kind of doing an investigation, but they're also kind of not trying to get too involved. Not too many people want to go out that direction. But, Carrie here has decided, she just needs to know more, and she's kind of doing, starts doing some research and asking questions and so forth. Especially as young women keep going missing, because, her as a young woman, she wants to stand up for the other woman and figure out what is going on here, because it doesn't appear anybody else, is caring enough to really try. Early on, it opens in a nice horror way. We get to see a nice death scene. We see a couple in a car. Of course, we get the usual: one person gets out, they get attacked, and the other person gets attacked. A similar kind of scene there, but it kind of sets a good thing to start. Obviously, it's clear that whoever this killer is, has a pig face mask, whatever you want to call it, on, and that kind of sets the stage as an example of what's happening here. Before again we meet Carrie and her investigations off and going. I think you'll see a familiar face. Shane West is in this movie. He was also, I believe, in It Feeds. I saw that recently, a couple of months ago, and he was good in that. He's good in this as well. So if you guys are looking for a familiar face, I didn't really recognize any of the other people in here. Not to say that they weren't in other things. But the acting is okay here. But like I said, she's going to go and to investigate a pig hill and then kind of go down that road. And, I don't want to get too into it and because then get into spoiler territory. But that's kind of the basics of what's going to happen here. There's also, I guess you say some drama going on in her family as well. And that's kind of another reason why, she's doing this investigation and so forth. She has a husband, she has a brother, and of course she's going to come across, Shane West's character is not related to her, but she comes across him in the process. And he's going to kind of help a little bit with the investigation as well. So, that's kind of the basis of it. I don't want to get, like I said, too much further into it and give away anything. I would say, as that kind of opening kind of happened, and then kind of as the movie starts going along, I kind of was starting to get those thoughts of what this movie was, and oh, we're gonna see the pig people again, and we're gonna see them kill, and kind of see that, and obviously meaning that there could be some more blood and guts, and of course I'm like, all right, more blood and guts, here they go, we're gonna see some people in pig masks gonna kill some people, and this is gonna be fun stuff. But then surprisingly, the movie doesn't clearly become that. It becomes a lot of mystery and unpacking the mystery and solving what is going on Pig Hill. And, obviously, like I said, Carrie has some issues of her own, and kind of unpacking that. So it kind of had me there, it had me with some expectations early of what I thought was going to happen, and kind of what I was expecting. And then it kind of goes in a different direction, and kind of sticks to this mystery and solving, what is going on here, what is going on, why are these girls missing, and that. So it becomes almost more psychological than anything. I don't know that I want to call it true crime or anything like that, but it definitely becomes psychological. Now, that's not to say that we eventually don't get back to some blood and guts. We do. It just didn't happen in the way that I thought it was going to be. I thought maybe we were leaning a little bit more towards a slasher kind of thing here. We're going to see, multiple scenes of this. But, after that opening, it kind of dives mostly into this mystery, and kind of, slowly maybe placing some clues here and there, and unpacking things. And then, kind of following her as she's trying to get closer and closer to what is happening here. Drawing in some suspense and some tension here as well. Until we get to kind of figure out where this is going. But yeah, there is going to be, at least a couple of more brutal things that do happen. You're just going to have to wait for it, really. It is not, a series of kind of slasher kills, whatever, like kind of expect. You're going to kind of have to wait to get to more of that later on. But it is certainly there, and definitely when it's time to be kind of brutal and so forth, the film is not afraid to do that. So there is some blood and guts, and I'm all in the good for that. So yeah, you're just gonna have to wait. So if you kind of had those expectations like me, especially at the beginning, that's what you're gonna see, that's not what you're gonna see. It's not really about that. I will have to say that I did a pretty good job here. I kind of grabbed at what was happening here, at least part of it, and I don't want to say too much because I don't, like I said, spoiler free and so forth. I don't know whether it's a good thing or not, as I tell you guys all the time. If I got it, that may have mean maybe it was too easy. There's certainly going to be layers to this, and you're going to, like I said, it's a lot about unpacking these layers to get to where this film is going. But there's a certain thing that I did see coming, and again, I don't know if that's good or bad here. Obviously, as they, kind of get closer and closer to where it's going, obviously, it's going to give you, the audience, a couple of things to think about, and think about, what is truly happening here. And, maybe I didn't, grab, every single thing here. Like I said, there are some twists and turns to it. There's one thing in particular that I did suspect, and it did come true, and I thought that was pretty good that I figured that out. Yes, toot my own horn. You got to take it when you can figure it out. But yeah, I think that's kind of, the unexpected of this movie, at least from my eyes. Maybe, if you guys thought it was something else, or paid closer attention. I didn't get even though I shared the trailer, I didn't pay too much attention to the trailer. Definitely guilty of that all the time. I just was kind of going with the flow of the movie and immediately had expectations, and then it's something different. It is an hour and 40 minutes, so maybe it did, at times. I don't know if I want to use the phrase slow burn, but they do go through certain things to get to the point here. Like I said, there's different layers to it to unpack. Some with what's going on, some with her. So it is not quick to get there, but it will get there. Like I said, I don't know that I want to completely say slow burn, but it is going to take a little bit of time getting there. But it eventually does, and it does end up being an alright story. Oh, there is another familiar face in it. I was just thinking about that. But I'm not going to give that away either. You just have to wait and see him, and see when he pops up there. I think some horror fans might go, oh look who it is. It's been a while, and be surprised by that. Yes, that means don't sneak and look ahead. I mean, I don't know if he popped up in the trailer and you saw him or not. But anyway, there's another familiar face in there that may make you guys smile for a moment. But yeah, so it is not really what is expected. But I liked the way that they told the story and how everything kind of ended up, and I thought it wrapped up pretty nicely. And like I said, it eventually does get back to blood and guts, so we'll give you that. Gave you a pretty good suspenseful ending and lots to going on there, and pick up some of the action and whatever. And like I said, there is probably a twist and turn and maybe an unexpected thing or two towards the end. But overall, I liked where it was going. Certainly not what I expected. Again, I think I've said that several times now. As the movie opened, but certainly not disappointed with that. So I think at the end of the day, I'm gonna give this one three pools of blood out of 5. Like I said, maybe if it was more the slasher thing, maybe I don't know. I'm not complaining. It just it just kind of had that in my head and was like, okay, and then but it makes up for it. Like I said, when it comes time later in the film to get back to some of the blood and guts things, it does. There's I guess I should say a capture situation and a pretty crazy scene in itself. It is a little bit brutal. So certainly when you have that, you might make up for some of the not having a slasher film in between. But yeah, I think it is a good story that they built on top, and definitely probably much more complex than if it was just a slasher thing with some people just killing people in pig masks. So a little bit more to it. So again, 3 pools of blood out of 5 for Pig Hill here. So with that, horrorscoryreviews.blogspot.com is where you can find all of my reviews, written and videos. Certainly tons of video reviews for a while now. So you can like and subscribe and do everything else that everybody wants you to do here on YouTube. If not, no worries. It is okay. I thank you for your time regardless. Twitter, Facebook information down below as well. So you can reach out if you guys go to Fright Fest and see this movie and have some thoughts about it. Or maybe down the line if you guys catch it. And definitely in the comment section as well once you guys kind of see this. Or if you simply want to reach out, feel free to do so there as well. And like I said, I will try to remember to leave a link down below for you guys to get more information on this film if you're not familiar. Had a press release from Promote Horror, so we'll try to remember to include that for you guys. So with that, I will catch you on the next review, horror fans.